I really had never thought about how I found new music. It just seemed like I found it, that I, I wasn't searching out to find new types of music, but I did. Well, in my opinion, I had a great childhood. Although my parents were divorced at an early age, it didn't seem like I ever wanted for anything. We lived in a small house in Lincoln, Nebraska. My mom really wasn't into music that much, and whatever I remember her liking would have been things like Elvis Presley. It was definitely something that I seeked out on my own. One of the times that we were visiting with my father, he owned a furniture and appliance and electronics store. My mother thought that it would be a fantastic idea if both my brother and I went to his store and picked out a stereo. After we picked out the stereo, he took us to Kmart, said go ahead and pick out 2 records. I didn't know a lot about music at that time. I immediately picked out the Brady Bunch album. This is it. This is the first album that I purchased at Kmart when I was 6 or 7 years old. And I was going to pick out a Partridge Family album, and my brother may or may not have called me a few names and suggested that I get something maybe a little more hardcore. He helped me choose Alice Cooper, School's Out. I actually loved it. Some of those songs that are on that album I still listen to. When I had that Alice Cooper, that little bit of an edge to it, then I started looking for more of an edge, and my brother introduced me to a couple of other bands, including Black Sabbath. Here's one that my brother, in fact this might be my brother's album, so if he's watching, sorry I stole your album, but Black Sabbath, Paranoid was one of the originals that I remember way back when. After the first records that my father bought, then when I had my paper out, I had a little bit of spending money, and I spent a lot of that money on records. When I got into junior high, that's when I really started listening to a bunch of different types of music. Now the 80s obviously was a fantastic decade for music. There was a lot of great music being introduced in movies. And one of the biggest stars of music and movie theme songs was Kenny Loggins. Footloose was huge in the 80s. Hair metal was really popular through the 80s, especially in small town Nebraska. And at that point, I wasn't into those bands as much as I was more of what I would call dance music or rhythm and blues. I was listening to the Romantics and I was listening to the popular music, but I was also listening to early rap. So here's where it really started for me in my appreciation of rap music. Sugar Hill Gang. Here's a good one. Heavy D and the Boys, very underappreciated in the rap world. Curtis Blow, featuring the hit song Basketball. I don't even know if Curtis Blow is still alive. I don't even know if you've ever heard of the Fat Boys, but they were apparently crushing it back there in the 80s. Kumo D, great 80s rapper. We introduced our kids to the music that we liked, which was the 80s music and before that. Our kids liked the things that other kids did. They liked the boy bands and Britney Spears. They started bringing some of that music in, and I didn't particularly care for it. Our daughter never really left that traditional teen sound until she left the house. And our son always had a little bit more eclectic taste in music. He wasn't afraid to listen to new things, and he liked pulling out my old albums. I would say that I went from being opinionless about music, just kind of doing what I thought I was supposed to do or listening to what I thought I was supposed to listen to a point where I now truly listen to the music that I want to. And I have such a different taste that my mood really dictates to me what I want to listen to. And I am not afraid now to say that my favorite song is Three Little Birds by Bob Marley. And people would not think of me if they had just seen me on the street to think that I was a big Bob Marley fan. Now I really in my line of work as a travel professional, I really like to listen to calypso or Caribbean music because it takes me to a place where I like to go, out on the ocean, out by the beach. And so now I've expanded that even into a lot of the new country music has a Caribbean flavor to it. I'm not trying to cater to anybody, and I think that that's how I have evolved, and my music tastes have evolved at the same time. Rock and roll.
Perfect. It's 6 in the morning, gotta load up the truck. We're heading to the ballpark to bring